Hey, what's up guys? Luke Profits. So let's talk about eBay fees. When you're selling on eBay, it's important to know what your fees are going to be and what you are going to have to pay. So eBay takes around 10% of whatever you sell stuff for. So if you sell something for $100, eBay is going to get 10 of those dollars. That's how they pay the bills and stuff. So yes, you've got insertion fees, which is, on top of that. So insertion fees are just whenever you create a listing. Whether it sells or not, you have to pay the insertion fee just to have it listed on the website. So each listing costs you 35 cents. I think it used to be 30 cents, and they've actually increased it. But yeah, every single listing costs you 35 cents to list, and you get like 50 free per month. But there are ways to get around that. Well, not get around that, but bring it down a little bit. If you have an eBay store, excuse me, geez. If you have an eBay store, I usually recommend getting the premium one. Then that costs $74.95 a month. I don't go with the yearly one because that's got some annoying terms in there that basically say you have to pay the entire thing if you want to cancel. So you're signing up right off the bat to pay like $600. So I say just keep it monthly like that. It's worth a couple months more because you never know when eBay is going to change or be weird or anything like that. Just keep your expenses monthly if you can. And the premium store gives you 1,000 listings for free when you buy it. So basically, instead of spending 35 cents 1,000 times, you can pay $74 once, get 1,000 credits, and then, it costs, instead of costing $350, right, to list 1,000 items, you can only pay 74. So you basically get that to pay for your insertion fees at a lower amount. So that's insertion fees, and that's just whether or not it sells just for listing, that's what you got to pay. Now, the other part is final value fees, and I already mentioned this a little bit, but 10% goes to eBay. So if it sells for $100, $10 goes to eBay, just on whatever it sells. And also with PayPal, since right now at least you have they're changing it soon, but right now you have to use PayPal with eBay, and 2.9% of that is going to go to PayPal plus 30 cents for each transaction. So that is how that works. So if you say, 10% for eBay, 3% for PayPal, 13%, that's usually good enough. Just make sure you've got that included and in your price because that's what you're going to have to pay. And if you get confused and don't realize that eBay's charging fees, then you can end up having a big eBay bill that you weren't expecting. So you just got to know that going into it. Also, something else that I should mention is that depending on the category, the percent that you have to pay changes a little bit. Usually it's like 10%, but, often it can be lower. It can be slightly higher, I guess, for some categories, but, usually it's around 10 cents. And also, the better... if you're subscribed to a store here, you can get that down a tiny little bit. They'll, reduce their final value fees a little bit. And also, if you get top-rated seller on eBay for being a really, really good seller and hitting all your metrics, then they'll also give you a slight discount there on your final value fees. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good explanation of eBay fees. You've got the monthly cost for this, and that, like I said, is going to cover 1,000 listings. You can see the little credits in your account. So basically, 35 cents a listing if you don't have a store after you use your free ones up. And then you get 1,000 more when you buy the premium store for $74.95 a month. So you got to pay that. Whether or not anything sells, $74.95 to get your insertion fees. And then you're also going to pay around 13% of whatever you've listed. So when you are using price tracking software like Yably or DSM Tool, whatever, you have a option called break even, and that's basically how much extra to price your stuff, how much extra to add into the price so that if you're selling it. So for example, if if an item costs $10 on Amazon and you sell it for $10 on eBay, then eBay is going to take, a dollar of that for their 10%. PayPal is going to take, a little bit as well for their 3%. And then, whatever you had for your insertion fee on that, those are your costs. So if you sold a $10 Amazon item for $10 on eBay, and not including cash back and stuff, you can use that to make a little bit more, and a lot of people do that to make extra money. But if on the front end of it, if you sold a $10 item for a $10 item for $10 on eBay, then you would be losing money because of the fees. So the break even is the extra percent that you want to add in to, basically calculate that into the price, and then have it listed there so that when it sells, you're not losing money. So I usually go with a 18.5% break even because that gives me enough for the 13% for 10% for eBay, 3% for PayPal, and then I leave myself a little wiggle room for promoted listings. Promoted listings are something else you can do where you basically say, hey, eBay, run a bunch of extra ads to try to promote my listings, put them at the top, and it'll say, like, sponsored. And basically, you don't pay anything for that, but if you get a sale because of those extra ads, then you have to pay the extra percent that you said you pay. So I say 3%, and gives me a little wiggle room. And then also, since PayPal charges that 30 cents stuff, I just do 18.5 because that sort of gives me just a little bit of extra flexibility, and I know that everything is going to be good. You could probably drop that down a little bit if you want, but 18.5 is just what I do. But yeah, so you got your insertion fees, right, which we talked about, the eBay store. Got your final value fees, which are roughly 10%, and then 3% for PayPal. And then, of course, you've got your monthly cost for this, which is, it's insertion fees really, but, your store subscription. Yeah, so those are eBay and PayPal selling fees and what you can expect. And in the other videos, I've gone into how you pay that. It usually will automatically come out of your PayPal account, but I recommend staying on top of your fees, checking in on them, and paying them all weekly. Just pay whatever the number is that's in the red, and you'll be good and on top of everything, because it's a lot easier to pay it, 4 times and have it be a small number than just get hit with a giant bill at the end of the month. It's just, I at least find it easier to do that, and it makes it easier for new people because then you're really staying on top of it. Doesn't just feel like, wow, I'm making all this money. Frick, I got a $600 bill, or, whatever, at the end of the month. Yeah, all right. Well, that's it for this video.
Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you're new to dropshipping and you're trying to figure out how to get started, I've got a full free set of training videos down there, link in the description. It goes over everything you need to know about how to get started making money online. And the average person following my method makes around $500 to $800 profit per month after expenses for each 1,000-item eBay store that they have set up and running. They're really not that hard to get started. If you've got any questions about anything dropshipping related, feel free to hit me up on Facebook. I'll put a link down there, as well as a link to a group that I started with hundreds of other dropshippers that you can join. I post new content on this channel every couple days, so go ahead and subscribe and click the notifications, and I'll see you back here with another video in a couple days.